my favorite string arrangement written by an incredible Brazilian composer, Jorge Del Barrio, and I think the strings always add the human component to any song. And certainly this one, I think he hit it out the park. To give you a little context for those of you who haven't heard the song, it was inspired by a lunch I had with a dad years ago during the first Iraq War. He was a Vietnam veteran, and his son had just gotten out of West Point and was about to go into theater, into combat. And through this lunch, I kept feeling these two competing sentiments from this dad. Of course, very understandable sentiments. One was pride that he felt for his son carrying on the family tradition of fighting for our freedoms. And of course, the other was fear for any loved one going into a war zone. And as I started going out with the USO and performing for our troops, initially they would say something to me that really didn't make sense. I remember down in Gitmo, and they're kids, right, guardsmen, 18, 19, 20 years old. I said, how you doing, how you doing? They're like, well, we're good, it's kind of tough on our families, though. I said, well, what do you mean? It's like, you're the ones, at risk, you're the ones getting shot at, and they said, true, but, we're busy, we're focused, we don't think about that, and often our families kind of sit at home, hoping that knock on the door never comes. And they would tell me about situations, and you guys of my generation remember, that we would hear on the news that we lost 16 soldiers in Fallujah, something like that. Well, it turns out many of the family members have a sense of where their loved one is stationed. Not exactly where, but they have a sense. So when these reports come out, there's this window of time that goes by where they don't know. Did they lose their mom, their dad, their husband, their wife, their son, their daughter? Tragically, this happened a few years ago at the Abbey Gate in Afghanistan when the terrorists attacked. Most of those guardsmen down there were from Camp Pendleton in San Diego, so hundreds of families had this kind of window of unknowing, and tragically 15 got the worst possible news. So I wanted to write a song that kind of recognized that sacrifice, because that's exactly what it is. And in this song, Two Lights, a father hears of a similar scenario, that a member of his son's unit has been killed. He does not know if it's his son or not. So he goes for a drive, and he says, if you find out he's okay, leave me 2 lights on when I get home.
What is courage? Is it brave when on lions? I've only seen them in parade. How is love supposed to read in a footnote of history? What's a tap on the shoulder that you're afraid to look over? The soldier's down in a firefight. No one can look me in the eye. This is what it means to be alone. So tear out my heart, feed it to life. For this one wish I'm begging is tonight. Show me no mercy, spare me my pride. I'm going for a drive. If you find out he's coming home, when I come round the corner, I know that it's alright. Leave me to the lights. Now he was young, just 23, didn't have to go, but it was the man he wanted to be. Like every son, he was an only one, and one day he came to me. So freedom's nothing to look over, so each man can stand up on his shoulder. I'll write you mountains of letters, each one a little bit better, and know I'll never be alone. So tear out my heart, feed it to life. For this one wish I'm begging is tonight. Show me no mercy, spare me my know I've been driving all the night. There's our corner up ahead. I'm alive and I am dead. I drive right through the stop sign. I turn my head as I lift my eyes. My eyes burn. Tear out my heart, feed it to life. For this one wish I beg you this tonight. Show